in Montreal, Canada, and of course the outstanding active heavyweight in the world today, George Foreman. George, quickly your assessment of Ron Lyle.
Ron Lyle, the most powerful puncher in the heavyweight division right now. He's probably one of the most potent punchers there are.
All right, let's take a look at Ron Lyle in action against you as you attest to his punching power.
I got written proof right there. He can hit. As you see, exceptionally good with the left hook. That's what took me down. Did I need help then?
Well, you made the help for yourself. Look at the way you came back.
As you see, I really had good vitamins for that fight, and they paid off.
But it's Ron Lyle's punching power that we'll be looking at today. That is to say, if he can connect with Jimmy Young, who's a very clever boxer. Your assessment of Young?
Very elusive and very smart. As you can watch him in the ring today, he's very confident. He's been around. He's even boxed in the rings in Philadelphia, so he knows how to take care of himself.
And, of course, he is a good counterpuncher, though without power.
And being that most fighters out of Philadelphia throw left hooks, and he's been in the gym with some of the best, he can avoid being hit with a left hook very well.
Okay, George, right now let's pick up with ring announcer Mike Pereira.
Don King production. In this corner, in the white trunks, from Denver, Colorado, 215 pounds, 31 wins, 4 losses, 1 draw, 22 knockouts, ranked number 5 in the world, Ron Lyle. In this corner, in the green trunks, from Philadelphia, 19 wins, 5 losses, 2 draws, 210.5 pounds, rated number 3 in the world, Jimmy Young.
All right, you heard Mike Pereira with the vital statistics and the introductions of the two fighters. The referee will be Rudy Ortega. Jack Downey will be one judge. Elmer Costa the second. All 3 are veteran ringmen. Scoring will be on the 10-point must system. No 3 knockdown rule in this state. No saving by the bell. They have a different rule that we don't have to go into at this time. Should the occasion warrant, we will. It's called the accidental butt or technical draw rule. The fighters, as I pointed out in my interview with Jimmy Young, are wearing 10-ounce gloves. And, George, tell them what the impact of that can mean and whom it will favor.
It takes the full potency out of Jimmy Young punches. He's not that great of a puncher anyway, and Ron Lyle will not be able to hit him hard in the later rounds.
So in the long run, as the fight gets underway, Jimmy Young may be the greater beneficiary.
He may be able to land more punches.
Jimmy Young in the green trunks. Ron Lyle in the white. We have an 18-foot ring, which is decently sized, so Young should be able to get the movement he needs as the boxer. Going to the body with a right. If you were Young, how would you fight him? Try to get inside or try to stay away, George?
I think the Young should definitely avoid being hit in the body because his hope is doing the leather stretch to go in and land more punches. And this guy can land a lot of body punches. He will not be able to be as potent in the later rounds.
Lyle, who can put you out with either hand, who has a punishing right uppercut. That's the blow he hopes Jimmy Young will not be able to slip. Jimmy Young, the counterpuncher. Lead with the left against him. He'll counterpunch with the right. Ron Lyle, the 5th-rated heavyweight. Jimmy Young, the 3rd-rated heavyweight. Many thought, including this reporter, that Jimmy Young won that fight in Landover, Maryland. The officials saw it unanimously differently. Jimmy Young in the green trunks, Ron Lyle in the white. Heavyweight bout. Action in the first round. Feeling out process, obviously. George Foreman here at ringside with him. Of holding here, George. Very little clean action.
Yeah, the first round normally with most fighters is the round to get acquainted in. Nobody's really interested in landing a good punch. They want to get the butterflies out of the stomach.
In their prior fight, February of '75, unanimous decision in Honolulu went to Jimmy Young. Some think Lyle took him too lightly. He's not doing that today. We approach the end of round one. The green trunks, Ron Lyle the white. First round uneventful, market even, nothing happened. Lyle looking for a quick kill. One of his problems in the past has been an absence of stamina. Shows a tendency toward early fatigue. Lyle working toward the midsection. Got in a right there.
That punch hurt Jimmy Young.
Left hand, Jimmy, right away. Left hand.
Out in the first round, and as is an old cliche in boxing, blows to the midsection take an accumulative toll and affect the fighter who receives those blows. That was a Freudian slip. Affect the fighter who receives those blows later in the fight as his stamina wears thin. That's Lyle Damon going to the midsection. Second round action.
All right, Jimmy, get out of here.
The clock counting down in the second round. Still essentially uneventful, although Lyle's trying to go to the midsection. Your observation, George Foreman?
Surprisingly enough to me, Jimmy Young doesn't seem to be afraid of Ron Lyle's punching power. One thing when you're fighting a counter punch, as Jimmy Young is, you can't concentrate on hitting him with hard punches because he's very elusive. You must stay busy for 3 minutes of each round and try to win the round. And eventually it pays off if you're a good puncher by way of the body.
Throw that hand back there.
George, surprising to see Jimmy on the inside throwing combinations there.
And he has hurt Ronnie Lyle to the body also. One punch, a left hook to the body hurt Ron Lyle.
We are approaching the end of round two. More punching than we saw in round one, mainly to the midsection. Just sounded for the start of round three. Heavyweights, Jimmy Young in the green trunks, Ron Lyle in the white. First round seemed even, feeling out process, nothing eventful. Second round, Lyle scored with a strong right to the midsection, but then Jimmy Young came on, landed the greater number of blows, working to Lyle's midsection. So George Foreman and I gave that round to Jimmy Young.
Hurting Ron Lyle's with body punches, no doubt. Left hook to the body.
How can you be sure of that, George? How can
I noticed the flinch. It's a true flinch. Now he's getting the favor right side.
Crowd thought Ron Lyle threw a low blow there, and indeed Ortega's telling him, the referee, Rudy Ortega, to keep those blows up. Young, obviously, as George noted in an earlier round, unafraid of Lyle's punching power, fighting surprisingly.
Very surprising. I think Lyle has got to stay busy. He cannot depend on one punch. I think that's the biggest mistake punchers make when fighting boxers. They try to land one punches, and the rounds have finished before you can stay ahead. You got to land punches whether they hit hard or not.
Now that which George saw early on, the flinching of Ron Lyle, becomes much more evident. In that last pummeling against the ropes that Ron took, he actually uttered in pain. There's a good right by Jimmy. He's got quick hands, Young. See him duck those punches, slip them? Remember, though, in the Ali fight last April 30th, when Ali finally, in desperation, went after him, Young would put half his body outside the ring, an illegal tactic, but he doesn't like to be pursued that way.
Right. He's a journeyman fighter and knows a lot of the tricks. For a young man, he knows plenty of tricks.
Young is 28, Lyle is 34. It's do or die for Ron Lyle. In his whole career, he's lost 4 fights. George knocked him out, of course, in the 5th round at Vegas. Ali beat him in the 11th round in Vegas. Jerry Quarry beat him, and Jimmy Young right here beat him in Hawaii. Quarry beat him in New York.
Each time out, Ron really gives a good account of himself. He really fights.
He has not yet tried to use the right uppercut that became his favorite punch in his last outing against an impressive young Kevin Isaac as we approach the end of the 3rd round.
I'm afraid I'm going to have to say Jimmy Young is a little too smart for Ron Lyle.
So it seems at this point, 3rd round action. The bell for round 4, Jimmy Young the green trunks, Ron Lyle the white. We scored the 1st round even. George Foreman and I did. The next 2 rounds for Jimmy Young. The last round decisively for Jimmy Young. Thus far, Young has prevented Ron Lyle from using his punching power effectively. Young is making Lyle fight a Jimmy Young style of fight. Young has been unafraid of Lyle's punching power, ties him up just as you see him doing right now, and overall is exhibiting a Philadelphia kind of ring generalship, though he is not the Philadelphia-type fighter in the accepted sense of the terminology because he lacks the big punch. But he's ring-wise from those Philadelphia gym wars, isn't he, George?
I'm afraid to say that Jimmy's a little too smart for Ron Lyle. Not that he's a better fighter, but he's a little too smart.
Well, that makes him a better.
Yeah, I'll have to agree with you there.
See the way Young just used his own right uppercut on the inside, connecting with Lyle's left jaw.
When Jimmy Young gets overconfident, the fight will end. I must add that.
I don't think Jimmy Young will fall prey to overconfidence, though, George. He's too smart a ringman. Very underrated fighter. Went into the Ali fight, a very underrated fighter. Ali had floated up to 228.5, remember? And he gave a dreadful exhibition, even though the officials voted for it. Ortega breaking it up. Lyle not getting the room and leverage he needs to execute the power of his punching.
He is literally being outsmarted. Jimmy Young is not trying to knock him out. He's just trying to stay ahead on point.
We saw Young moving across the ring there, using... There's a good right by Young. Now, pull the knockdown. No, it was not called. It looked like a slip to me, didn't it?
It was a slip. It was a slip.
I couldn't see it as a knockdown. Although a right did get in there, it was only a glancing blow.
At this point, Ron Lyle must take control of this fight. He must land punches, whether they are hard or not, and he can regain control of this fight.
Remember, this is a scheduled 12-rounder. Remember, too, that George Foreman has signed an exclusive long-term agreement with ABC Sports. He will be co-commentator with me on this and future ABC fight telecasts in which he is not a participant. We also have exclusive negotiation rights with George. That means a right of first refusal on his future fights during the tenure of the agreement. Going down to the end of round 4, and Young in command again. Battle of the Network Stars. Well, I did that show, and I'll tell you, it promises to be a fun-filled, exciting, and insightful 2 hours. Will you see the tug-of-war event? Will you see the little fellow plays Epstein and welcome back Cotta as the lead man in the tug-of-war? Will you see Bob Conrad with his competitive verve? And will you see Telly Savalas on the volleyball court? He's no Kojak there, I'll tell you. Underway. Once again, Jimmy Young, the green trunks, Ron Lyle, the white. And so far, Jimmy Young has been outpointing and outsmarting Ron Lyle. Doing it seemingly at will after a laggardly first round. Although we have not had the great exciting action with knockdowns one likes to see in a heavyweight brawl, Young has nonetheless demonstrated good skills against Lyle.
Lyle is beginning to be effective with that right hand to the side of Jimmy Young. And I think that could help him during the latter part of the bout. Slow Jimmy Young down and maybe land some headshots.
There was the first right uppercut he tried, and Jimmy Young got his head out of the way. You know, Young is remarkable, George, in his ability to slip punches to the head. He was Kenny Norton's sparring partner for the second Ali Norton fight, and Kenny told me I threw him out of the camp. I couldn't hit him in the head. What you have to watch for, George, is fatigue on Lyle's part. He does tire early.
He's physically prepared to go the whole distance. A lot of his fights have been 10-rounders. He's a knockout artist, but of course he's knocked guys out in the 10th round. I figure he could knock Jimmy Young off if he stopped trying to land one good punch. He land 3 nice, easy.
Well, you fought Lyle. Describe what happens after the first punch to Lyle's subsequent punches if he throws combinations.
Lyle is indeed a hard puncher. I can't say anything about him. He made me crawl on the floor. I've got to give him a break.
Okay. Crowd is not happy with the fact that there has been so little clean punching in this bout. Much of the fight thus far in close as you see it there. Young tying Lyle up. Lyle trying to work to the midsection. It occurred to me that 1 or 2 of those blows were questionably low.
I think so. He's trying that. He's really trying hard, and some of the punches are going off mark. He's trying to get Jimmy Young to mix it up. Get mad, mix it up. Then I can land my big punch.
5th round action. Lyle the white trunk. Hey, Lyle was hurt there and hurt again. Young connected quickly with a combination, followed through with 2 more quick combinations. And Lyle went back against the rope. Really hurt for the first time in this fight, George.
I don't think he's hurt. He's really trying to force him to mix it up. And if he backs up a couple of times, gets this guy overconfident, he can land that good overhand right.
We're going to stay with you after the end of this, the 5th round. Ron trying to come out was hurt, and you didn't. Right there.
No doubt he landed a good punch. It wasn't hard. He really wants to get the guys to say, come on, fight me. Mix it up with me, then I'll knock your head off. And I think this round could be a round where Jimmy Young dare mix it up with him. The round coming up.
All right, Ron Lyle being worked on in his corner. Ron Lyle's people in the corner are Sam Boardman, Angelo Curley, and Rip Clark. Some of you remember Angelo Curley. He worked with Don Fulmer. Been a long time since I've seen Don. That was in San Remo when he fought Nino Benvenuti for the middleweight crown and lost. Bell for round 6. For those of you just joining us, Jimmy Young in the green trunks, Ron Lyle in the white, George Foreman with this reporter at ringside. Good left gotten in there by Lyle. Now that was a good left. Good right to the
very
midsection
important
by
right
Lyle.
Hand. Those right hands to the side are very important for Ronnie Lyle.
The red welt on the left-hand side of Jimmy Young's body where Lyle has been landing. The right that we've been talking about.
Ron Lyle's have one terrific left hook. If he can get this guy to mix it up with him, he will land it, and the guy will go down.
There is that right cut in savagely to Young's left side. Young with the left. Good right by. See, Lyle started with a left there. That's what we mean by counter punch. Jimmy came right over that left with his right. Scored nicely with it.
That's exactly the way it happened.
Sixth round action. Into the sixth round. Lyle again, right and then another right to that left side.
The left hook almost got
over there on Young's left side. You notice?
Ron Lyle's left hook is getting closer and closer to the mark. And it's because of that right hand lead he gets in there.
Oohs and ahs as Young comes back with a counter right again. Another right by Young, followed by the left. There's that right to the left side again by Lyle. Lyle's best round since the first.
This man, Jimmy Young, uses his eyes, he uses his legs, he's a smart fighter.
Interesting you mention the eyes, because I wonder if the public realizes how important perfect eyesight is in boxing. Peripheral vision, almost a necessity.
You're getting a great demonstration of using your eyes in boxing, as Jimmy Young is doing.
Same thing, of course, in most any sport, but especially so in some sports. Arthur Ashe contends that eyesight is half of tennis.
That is. Archie Moe was one great fighter with his eyes.
There was Young scoring to Lyle's head. Sixth round action and a pretty good round. Inside Civic Auditorium, San Francisco, California. Two heavyweights going at it. The fifth-rated Ron Lyle in the white. The third-rated Jimmy Young in the green. George Foreman with me at ringside. Young, after the first round, dominant in the fight in the boxing sense, but Lyle beginning to do better in the sixth round as a result of a constant use of the right effectively to the left side of Young's stomach. And while I don't think it's manifest on the screen, there is a whole series of red welts on Young's left side. I want to alert our local stations at the end of this round, barring unforeseen circumstances in terms of action, we'll be cutting to you so that you can render your local messages. It's a seventh round action. And I must say this, Lyle not showing the fatigue he has shown in prior fights.
I think, as I said earlier, that left hook is getting closer and closer to the mark. Jimmy Young is using his eyes as you use your words. Very clever.
Oh, a good right by Jimmy. Jimmy with a flurry to the midriff.
The judges love that, too. That win points for the judges.
Remember, three veteran ring people will be scoring this fight. The referee, Rudy Ortega, Jack Downey, and Elmer Costa, the judges. Good left by Young. Right by Young that did not land squarely. Looked better than it was.
Lyle is trying to time Jimmy Young's left hook in order to throw his at the same time, and it's costing him a lot of points, being that he's getting hit while he's waiting for it.
Still much of it up close as it has been throughout the fight. I'm a little surprised Young hasn't deviated his pattern to some degree. If, as you say, George Foreman, Lyle's left hook is getting closer, then it might
Jimmy Young is holding it. When he gets set, he holds his left hand He's running Lyle's left hand so he don't get hit, as you can see there.
Right there.
He gets a good hold to it.
Good point, Joe. Good left by Lyle. That one got in there.
The left hook will find its mark, and if it does, the fight can end. Jimmy Young is no doubt a smart athlete.
We'll return with more of ABC's Wide World of Sports after this message from your local station. Round action just underway. Heavyweight. Jimmy Young, the green trunks. Ron Lyle, the white. Ron not fading, at least not thus far, as we've seen him do in other fights. The left hook becoming more effective, as George Foreman, who's with me at ringside, has pointed out. In fact, Ron looking spry on his toes as this round begins.
The left hook is finding the mark closer. Now, for the first time tonight, Ron Lyle's landed a right hand to Jimmy Young's head. That's a sign of something is happening.
Suddenly, the Lyle left looks longer and got in there to the chest. He's pursuing Jimmy now.
The right hand is going to the head. He's only got 4 rounds to really sway the judges if he don't get a knockout.
Good right by Lyle, and again he tries to lay the right in there, and Jimmy is holding. Lyle suddenly looking strong as we get to the 8th round. As our camera pans down to the left foot of Ron Lyle, you'll see that the heel of his shoe is coming off, and that's bothering. I haven't seen that ever before in a fight. Have you, George?
New shoes at that.
That left heel is flapping. Whether or not it'll affect Ron's balance remains to be seen, but certainly it can't be good. There, he tried with the right uppercut. There it is. Counting down, and Lyle looking like a much stronger fighter. Again, the right uppercut attempted and missed. Hard to hit Young in the head, I gotta say that.
He's elusive and smart.
Young got a left in.
He's in boxing what Jimmy Marshall is in football. Smart. He knows it all.
Against the ropes. Lyle trying to work to the midsection. Overall, Lyle the aggressor in this round.
And this is the time he can really start throwing the left hook.
Right there, Young connected, and again, good combination. And Lyle is backed off into the corner. Came out of nowhere. Jimmy Young coming to life. And Lyle sent back to a corner. A good right again by Jimmy. All right, that was the counter right scored by Jimmy Young near the end of the 8th round that sent Ron Lyle moving backwards into a corner, a neutral corner. During the brief period between rounds, Sam Boardman, Ron Lyle's trainer, taped up that left heel on his shoe, so that won't be bothering him this round. During the course of the round, when you get a look at that left shoe, you'll see the tape. Under the heel, up over the arch of the foot. 9th round action. Jimmy Young, green trunks. Ron Lyle, white trunks. Young rated number 3. Lyle number 5 among the heavyweights. Key fight in the careers of both men. Jimmy Young dominant in the early rounds. After a nothing first round, Jimmy worked Lyle over in a boxing sense the next 4 rounds. Lyle began to come back, using the right to the left side of Jimmy Young most effectively, and beginning to score occasionally with the left hook. The right uppercut has not yet connected. He's thrown it 3 times. Young has flipped it every time. This has been the pattern of much of this fight. Lyle with his back against the ropes. Young leaning all over him. Young unafraid of the other man's superior punching power, but Young may be a little tired from the damage to the left side.
Lyle fights very well when he's hurt. Very well when he's hurt.
Well, Lyle has a personal history of fighting back from adversity. 7.5 years, Colorado State Penitentiary. All those days in solitary confinement. Self-educated while in prison. A remarkably articulate man. Young scoring there. Young again with 2 quick left jabs. Lyle, one of the most interesting people around in boxing because of that background.
And he's a gentleman also.
Degree of self-education.
He's a gentleman also. And a hard puncher.
Yes.
Jimmy Young is fighting when he wants to, and when he does not want to fight, he holds and he walks around the ring. Very smart.
Trying to save.
He's not using any excessive energy.
Right, trying to save what he's got left. Scheduled. Good right
that hurt.
That hurt.
Right hurt.
Yep.
That right did hurt.
Snapped. While missing with his own right lead to the head. There's a nice scene for you.
Ron Lyle's legs are evidently weak now. He just gave in to that.
9th round action. We'll be back. Let's look at the last round. See that right of Young's, the one that hurt Lyle so clearly over Lyle's left, as the left was in the process of deliverance. A counter blow. Very effective. Now we're looking at 10th round action. Jimmy Young, green trunks, 3rd rated. Ron Lyle, white trunks, 5th rated. Repetition of this kind of information for any lay viewers who might be joining us. Lyle got in a left uppercut against Young. Did not hurt. Young now changing his tactic momentarily. I've been waiting for that, George. He's waiting the 18 feet.
He's waiting until he wants to fight, which is very smart.
Here in the 10th round. It would appear that unless Lyle, it would appear, we can't speak for the judges and the referee, but we're entitled to offer opinions. Good left by Young. Good right by Young.
Very important right-hand punch by Ron Lyle there. It hurt Jimmy Young. Now, if he can get in there and get on him, he can finish Jimmy Young. But who's to say whether he noticed that he hit him that hard?
I was about to say that it would appear, George, check me if you agree with me, that unless Lyle can knock Young out, Young is going to win another fight. This very underrated, underpublicized, but clever boxer. As you look at your picture, see those welts I've been referring to on the left side of Jimmy Young's body? Young with the left lead. Wanting to keep Lyle off him. Ron with that right to the left side again.
I'm afraid that if he's going to come on, he's got to start putting it all together this round and the next round. A very important left hook he landed there also. I'm wondering what my trainer and Charles Scheif would think about George Foreman facing a clever fighter as Jimmy Young.
We may yet see that. Would you fight him differently?
I'm wondering what my trainer and Charles Scheif would think about that.
I understand. That's what you said. You won't commit. Given your druthers, how would you want to fight Jimmy Young?
I think that no doubt in my mind that you got to be throwing punches all the time with a counter punch. You can't wait for a good punch. The fight will end before you can do it. And Lyle has waited throughout this bout to land a good punch, and now the time is running out on him. He should have been tapping him, but of course, you know, in the ring.
We're approaching the end of the 10th round, as you can see. Jimmy Young against Ron Lyle. The 11th round just getting underway. Scheduled 12-round heavyweight fight. Ron Lyle, 5th rated, white trunks. Jimmy Young, 3rd rated, green trunks. Fights thus far cleverly fought by Jimmy Young, getting the most out of what he's got. Ron Lyle upset with referee Ortega for backing him off. Young is now fighting in flurries that suit him, a fact that George Foreman pointed out in an earlier round.
The judges like those flurries. There's no doubt in mind that he has really swayed the judges because he did some flurries. A lot more than Run Lyle.
He's paced himself by the use of those flurries so that he's got some energy left for the final 2 rounds. On the other, he scored there. But those quick, short combinations. There's Lyle again against the ropes. Jimmy scoring again to the head.
Lyle waiting again to land one punch. And as I said, the minutes tick away as he waits. He has not been beaten. He has been outsmarted.
Good left by Jimmy Young. He's really giving it to Lyle in the infighting in this round. Lyle has barely moved. He moved from one rope to another. But basically, he's been immobile against the ropes. When he lands, it's that right to Young's left side. For all those welts off.
Young was hurt with a left hook that time. He gained his balance back and kept in there. Jimmy Young is hurt.
You're sure of that?
He's hurt, but Lyle doesn't realize this stuff.
How do you know he's hurt?
I'm looking strictly at his eyes now. His eyes tell a story of him.
Got in a good right there.
Yeah, that hurt.
Lyle again with the right to the left side of the body. That target's been unchanging for Ron throughout the fight. Again he throws. Ortega breaking them up. Yes, Joe.
Lyle is putting on a great body punching demonstration. Although it's a little late in the fight to start landing body punches. He should have did that a little earlier. Young know this is the 11th round and there's only one more round. Like I said, he's in boxing what Jimmy Marshall is in football.
We approach the end of the round.